for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack make it backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby Maine. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
Sheeff G, upwards of 42 million YouTube views.
Sheeff G used a lot of the money that he earned to help facilitate further gang activity.
Prosecutors say that includes this mass shooting in Brooklyn, where one person was killed, 5 others injured. District Attorney Eric Gonzalez said Sheeff G ordered the hit and then, as a reward, ordered up a fancy dinner at a Manhattan steakhouse.
Sheeff G takes the shooters from this incident and some other gang members for a very lavish, expensive steak dinner where they celebrate the score against their rivals.
It was a bloody night here in Brooklyn with a barrage of bullets fired here on Hawthorne Street. Victims laid out all across the area and ambulances rushing here to the scene to bring those victims to the hospital. Tragically, one of the 6 victims did not survive, and this morning police are still searching for 3 suspects who were last seen getting away from here in a white sedan. It was around 10:30 last night between the area of Nostrand Avenue and Rogers Avenue where this deadly shooting spree unfolded. Police tell us a group of people was hanging out here on the block when suddenly a car rolled up with 3 people inside. Sources tell me the shooter could be seen hanging out of the sunroof and then opening fire into a crowd. Cops tallying up the victims say they found 6 people, all in their 20s, hit by bullets. 5 were men, 1 is a woman. However, 23-year-old man was shot in the chest and he died at Kings County Hospital. Homicide detectives believe the shooters did have gang affiliations. However, it's unclear who exactly they were aiming for and what the motivation behind the shooting was. All of that is still under investigation. So now police are using surveillance video and eyewitness accounts to piece together all of this and try and track down all of the suspects in that vehicle. You can see that light tower that's set up here on Hawthorne. Police tell us that is because this area has been a hot spot for crime. However, it certainly was not a deterrent for what happened here in the overnight hours. A lot of the shootings that we have seen in recent months here in Brooklyn have all stemmed from gang violence. Reporting from Prospect Lefferts Gardens, I'm Anthony D.
Taken off the streets, and the 2 famous rappers who could be looking at serious prison time. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rana Novini in for Adam Cooperstein. And prosecutors say those gang members shot at rivals in broad daylight and then bragged about it on social media. At the center of it all, 2 well-known rappers from Brooklyn. Rappers Sheeff G and Sleepy Hollow are accused of helping carry out violence against rival gang members in Flatbush and Crown Heights. Police say they are members of the Crips. The 2 rappers were among 32 alleged gang members charged today in a 140-count indictment. The DA saying the gang is linked to 12 shootings and 1 murder, which was caught on camera. Investigators say this is one of the gang's crimes, a deadly drive-by shooting where the suspects pulled up and started firing at rival gang members. People start to run down the street at the top of your screen there. 1 person was killed in this incident, 5 others injured. News 4's Mark Santia is live at the Brooklyn waterfront. And Mark, prosecutors are saying that this gang violence stretched even beyond Brooklyn.
Yeah, Rana, prosecutors say this alleged gang was known in Brooklyn, Manhattan, and New Jersey. From gold records to silver handcuffs, police arresting rappers Sheeff G and Sleepy Hollow. Investigators say the men, along with 30 other alleged gang members, ordered, orchestrated, and wreaked havoc across the area.
These are no small-time rappers. Sleepy Hollow, on 1 song, upwards of 125 million YouTube views. Sheeff G, upwards of 42 million YouTube views.
Sheeff G used a lot of the money that he earned to help facilitate
further gang activity. Prosecutors say that includes this mass shooting in Brooklyn, where one person was killed, 5 others injured. District Attorney Eric Gonzalez said Sheeff G ordered the hit and then, as a reward, ordered up a fancy dinner at a Manhattan steakhouse. Sheeff G takes the shooters from this incident and some other gang members for a very lavish, expensive steak dinner where they celebrate the score against their rivals. Police say different gangs joined forces to take on other gangs, leaving several people injured, including innocent New Yorkers caught in the crossfire.
We are not going to give up. We're not going to surrender our streets to violence.
No longer will these 32 individuals shoot their guns in the streets of New York City, and we as a city are safer for that.
The focus of today's press conference, Sheeff G.
This is not an indictment about rap music. In fact, this investigation did not rely on a single lyric to prove any of the alleged crimes. But it is an indictment of how, when someone does well for themselves and could do real good in our community, they use their fame and they use their money to further gang violence.
If Sheeff G is convicted, he could spend up to 25 years in prison. We're live in Brooklyn Heights tonight. I'm Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
And if y'all think the top New York rap artists are not targets, y'all are wild. Yo, it's your guy Popalot. We back on MOBB business. Y'all go ahead and meet us in NYC, Brooklyn, my side of town, Flatbush. Now, today, although we're discussing a new person, the topic seems all so familiar when you look at the noun laundry list of top New York artists or emerging New York artists to be taken down with serious violent crimes. And it's almost hard for me to remember where it started from, but I want to say maybe Bobby Shmurda, when him, Rowdy, and several fellow members of GS9 was indicted back in 2014. Definitely could have been someone before then, but that was the first one that came to mind. But then I think about the Tekashi 6ix9ine debacle, where Shotty and Mel Matrix end up going down. There's been so many, I'm probably missing a few. But the K-Flock situation, where he would be arrested on murder charges, comes to mind. And then information comes out today on an indictment that is handed down against Michael Williams, better known as Sheeff G, who some people would go on to call the face of New York's drill music. And though I would probably be biased anyway, kind of, with Sheeff G being from my side of the town, but in his case, all bias aside, I definitely think Sheeff G was one of the top artists coming out of New York City, if not the top artist. And Sheeff G, an artist that some people still might not know, as he was emerging, but even before he was named in a massive indictment that included murder, with him almost seeming like the head of everything going on, his career had been put on hold in July of 2021 when he would be stopped for gun possession and eventually sentenced to 2 years. So he was pretty much on his way out the door before him, fellow Brooklyn artist Sleepy Hollow, as well as over 30 other people would be charged in that massive gang indictment, claiming the group of men to be members of an offshoot of the 8 Trey Crips by the name of Nine Ways, going as far as saying that Sheeff G would use a majority of the money that he would make from music to fund this gang war against their rivals and the Folk Nation Gangsta Disciples and another group called the ICG Babies. Now, me knowing the lay of the land, as I remember walking to junior high school at Lefferts or IS 61, right past the scene of that shooting that would end up taking the life of one person and wounding 5, that authorities would say Sheeff G ordered. as well as being familiar with the area that he is from, which we would just call the 90s, that was only a little walk from the block that I grew up on, Clarkson between Bedford and Rogers. So in a situation where a lot of times involving a gang, one neighborhood would probably fall under one flag or one banner, this was totally different, where a matter of walking just a few blocks will put you right in the middle of a war zone. So with that being the situation, I'm very surprised that it was only 12 shootings that they would say went on between these two groups, with only one person being killed, though no details have come out as far as any fatalities that might have been suffered by Sheeff G's non-way gang. Now, Sheeff G, who was incarcerated at the time this indictment was handed down on that gun beef that I spoke on earlier, is no stranger to the criminal justice system and the streets in general. As early as high school, he would be arrested and put on probation for firing shots in what I would call Flatbush's biggest mall, a place that I vividly remember visiting and even rapped about in a few of my songs, King's Plaza. After that, he would be arrested for fighting before he would turn 16 years old, only to be arrested a year later in November of 2015. He would end up serving 1 year and 4 months on a robbery and gun charge. In an interview, he would say that he would join the 8 Trade Crips as early as the age of 12 years old, going on to say, growing up, all I was around was violence, with it being a little bit over 5 years since his break on the scene with the 2017 hit No Suburban, and only a few days from walking out the door after serving 2 years on a gun charge. We might have heard the last music ever from Sheeff G, with them painting him out to be a character that rivals a mob boss. Now, if y'all haven't heard Sheeff G, he's definitely one of the artists that I would definitely recommend y'all checking out. And if y'all did hear about Sheeff G, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Was this a case like we talk about all too often, where a music artist will have 1 foot in the studio and 1 foot on the block? And y'all let me know where y'all think Sheeff G was headed career-wise, especially if y'all fuck with the music. Y'all make sure y'all hit the red subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real trill spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box. Y'all run it up. Let me know what cities we need to go to, what stories we need to tell, what we missed, what we got wrong, all of that. Make sure y'all tap in with me directly if y'all need me. POP_A_LOT on Instagram and Twitter. And y'all know the rundown. I'm going to be back before y'all know it. Shit got Popalot. Whole lot of mob shit going on.